Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, the Frank Lloyd Wright School of Architecture is fighting to keep its accreditation, and a special visit tonight with legendary solo artist and E Street Band guitarist Nils Lofgren. That's all next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. The Frank Lloyd Wright School of Architecture's governing board is fighting to keep its accreditation. Nick Mancusi, an alumnus of the school and a Scottsdale architect, is here to tell us more. Welcome to the show. Thank you for being here.
Pleasure.
Let's define terms here real quickly. The Frank Lloyd Wright School of Architecture as opposed to the Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation.
Sure. The Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation was the foundation that was created by Frank Lloyd Wright and was kind of put together at that point. The school is basically a subsidiary of that, so to speak, under the umbrella of the Frank Lloyd Wright Foundation that offers an accredited Masters of Architecture program.
And how long has that school been around?
The school was founded in 1932 as the Taliesin Fellowship by Frank Lloyd Wright, but later accredited in 1987 as a fully accredited MArch program.
Number of students?
It's roughly 20 students that attend the school there on a year-round program between both Wisconsin and Arizona.
And how about degrees offered?
Currently, right now, it's just the Master of Architecture degree, which is a fully accredited, professional, NAB-accredited degree.
Okay, so, and before we get off the school, the impact of the school on architecture.
It's vast, it's humongous. I mean, you're talking about the legacy of an icon, one of the greatest architects. The school was designed to be a refuge from the traditional institution. Wright once joked about how Harvard turned, good plums into prunes, so to speak. And Taliesin's always been that way, to be able to offer an alternative route through education in preparing you to become a licensed architect. Its legacy is huge, from John Lautner and Neutra and Paolo Soleri and on and on. So it's massive.
So with that in mind now, the school is in trouble. Why?
Well, it's coming down to a point of what we call regional accreditation. And there's two different types of accreditation. There's the architectural accreditation that looks at the curriculum itself. Mm-hmm. And then there's the Higher Learning Commission, the regional accreditation, that looks at how a school is able to be put together to be able to grant a degree, so to speak. And for a while, the school and the foundation have known about HLC's change in a policy, which is looking to have the school have a little more financial autonomy over itself, to try to separate that, to be able to make financial decisions.
It sounds like the new rule, the quote here is, the school must be separately incorporated from the sponsoring organization, i.e. the foundation.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And is that not possible?
No, I mean, it's very possible. Back roughly 2 years ago, there was a study that was done to look at different alternatives, how the school could be kind of approached from the foundation's perspective. And there's very easy ways, simply by having an arrangement where the school is a separate, as it was stated, incorporated organization, but still having a governance relationship with the foundation, just allowing it to be able to make financial decisions that benefit the students, the faculty, and the staff. I
think the foundation, though, would, be understandably concerned about a lack of oversight or a lack of control on their part. Is that a valid concern?
I mean, the challenge is that the school is the best kind of candidate to be able to make those decisions over curriculum, so to speak. The foundation is an organization that is concerned with Wright's legacy, certainly, but as well as the tour program in kind of the archives and such. But the school itself has to be able to have that flexibility, create a program that's going to, again, benefit the students and achieve the educational outcomes they're looking for.
If the accreditation is a problem, could the school maybe partner up with another school that is accredited? Team up?
Well, that's been kind of gone along too. There's two different ways to look at partnership. If it's a matter of just sharing financial resources and faculty resources, sure, I don't think the school is opposed to that. But partnering with another program, you run into the accreditation issue. Who's actually granting the degree at this point? And say, for instance, if you were to partner with a local university, likely that accreditation, especially the architectural professional degree accreditation, is going to go to that school and not Taliesin. In turn, the school would no longer be.
Is there concern out there that the foundation is just not interested in the school anymore?
I think there's frustration, there's a lot of confusion around that. There's a majority of the foundation board that is for the school, that wants to keep it going. Unfortunately, they require a supermajority to make this decision. But there is a growing concern amongst the alumnus, amongst the architectural community, the students that are currently enrolled on what's happening, and is this going to be the right decision? And
when we talk about accreditation, losing accreditation, the impact that would have on the Frank Lloyd Wright School.
Absolutely. I mean, again, as I mentioned earlier, being a part of an accredited degree program is paramount in becoming an architect, with a capital A, as Wright used to like to refer. And in his will, he talked about this idea of Taliesin being a school that prepares people to be an American architect. So losing that accreditation, you're losing the pathway to becoming that architect.
Last question, and in looking into this, I heard some critics basically saying that the time has passed for the Frank Lloyd Wright School. There are so many opportunities, so many other avenues for architects to learn the skill, to learn the craft. Comment on that, respond to that.
It's sad to hear that, and I don't believe that that's true. Taliesin's been looked at as this kind of refuge, as I mentioned earlier, but as also as this opportunity to explore architectural education from a principle-based standpoint, this idea of learn by doing, the shelter program that's there. I mean, there's so many different things that Taliesin does from an average architectural program that without it there'd be a hole in architectural education and the future of the architectural profession.
How long? What's next with all this?
Well, right now what we're trying to do is the Taliesin Fellows, the alumni group, has started a Friends of the School where you can actually help donate money at taliesinfellows.org, and on their website you can help. They're trying to help create a pathway for the school to become financially autonomous, but as well as just you know, kind of understanding what's happening at this point here, and really helping the school move towards that direction, and hope that the foundation will sway in the direction of keeping an accredited program.
All right. Nick, good to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Guitar virtuoso Nils Lofgren is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, inducted as a member of Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band, but Lofgren also has a long and storied career as a solo artist.
Gotta sing a lot, open your heart a lot, and you can be alive. You gotta share your stuff, give when the time gets rough. Your best can be enough. Dream big, stay humble, give big, stay strong, be humble, humble.
And joining us now is Nils Lofgren.
Hey,
My
Ted.
goodness, what a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much for being here. DC kid, E Street Band, and an Arizona resident. How'd you wind up here?
Well, I started in Chicago on the south side near Midway, and my dad moved us to Maryland outside of DC when I was 8. And that was really where I cut my teeth. And, you know, I was on the road at 17, 1968. I hit the road. This month's 46 years on the road for me. But we traveled everywhere, and I was in the Stone Pony, famous nightclub in New Jersey. And at the end of the night, I met this beautiful young girl on the bus that was with a friend of hers, and one of the roadies had him on the bus. And Amy Aiello talked her into hanging out with me, and I had to leave at 6 a.m. for Boston. And I was begging her to come to Boston so we could get to know each other, but she had, you know, she said her mom would kill her and her boss, she had a job. Of course, I said I'd square it and call everyone, but she didn't think that would work. So I was in Jersey every 3 months, and I thought I'd see her again, but 15 years went by. And then 18 years ago at the Rockin' Horse, a great rock club we had here in town.
You bet.
I was passing through. She walked up and said, "Hi, remember me?" We were both at the end of divorces, and a very long, beautiful story short, we've been together ever since.
And you're here ever since.
Yeah, 18 years here in the Valley. My mom and brothers are still in D.C. We go visit and talk them into coming out here. But, you know, I love it here, and this is my home.
Does where you live impact your music? Would you be the same Nils Lofgren if you were born and raised in Arizona?
Well, I think so, basically, because if you're a musician, in my case in particular, I fell in love with performing. It's a gift I have. So you travel, and you spend probably as much time away from home as home. I'm sure if you studied it, you know, psychiatrists studied it, your geography has something to do with it. But there's been times when I've been in one of the most beautiful settings in the world, and I've had the blues and just haven't felt like writing a song. I've been at a terrible, dingy bar and gotten an inspired idea and put it on a little boombox, you know?
Yeah.
So I'd like to think it's a little bit more some God-given talent I had and a love of music that leads to the creative stuff.
When did you know you had that God-given talent? Because you were very successful very young.
You know, I started at 5 years old on the accordion, of all things. South side of Chicago, everyone played accordion. I asked for lessons. My folks paid for 10 years of accordion lessons. And after the waltzes and polkas, you move into classical, which I did. I entered contests, I won contests. So I knew I had a gift for music, but of course it was just fun and therapeutic. And at 15, I picked up the guitar as a hobby. In the mid-60s, you know, we worshiped Jimi Hendrix and the Beatles and the Stones, but you didn't do that for a living, you know, as a teenager. And one night I saw The Who in 1967, and then I went over across town in Washington, D.C. and saw The Late Show of Jimi Hendrix Experience. And that night I was possessed with the notion of being a rock musician. Hit the road when I was 17, a lot of ups and downs, but obviously 46 years later, it worked out.
It did work out for you. Looking back, hitting the road that young, playing on million-selling albums as a teenager, playing piano, which apparently you played the accordion, so I guess you knew how to play the piano, although you didn't know how to play all that well, did you?
Well, it was a strange thing. Thanks to meeting Neil Young when I was 17 at a nightclub, I used to sneak back and ask advice from my heroes because I knew nothing about music business. And he befriended me. We stayed in touch. My band Grin 3 weeks later was in LA anyway, and he turned us on to his producer David Briggs, and we moved in with David, and he produced Grin. But as we were going through our ups and downs, I saw Neil a lot, so a year later, at 18 years of age, he asked me to do the After the Gold Rush album. Yes. And him and David said, "You're going to play guitar, sing, and a little piano." And I'm like, "Well, I'm not a professional piano player." And those two were the ones who had more confidence in me than I did, and they said, "Look, you played classical accordion for 10 years. They knew my history. You've won contests. We saw the trophy." I said, "So what?" And they said, "Well, we just need a few simple parts, and we believe you'll find them." And I was like, "Really?" So that's the beautiful thing about from the classical thing, where everything is written, very serious studies, Flight of the Bumblebee, all these masterpieces I had to learn. Then all of a sudden you're playing blues guitar, and you can make mistakes, you can be funky, you can be out of tune, and if you're feeling something special and deliver it, it works. So It's kind of a magical kingdom from the classical world on accordion. but it served me well playing the piano on After the Gold Rush album.
And again, working with and meeting these heroes of yours, because you are a rock fan, you've mentioned that numerous times. In terms of songwriting, now you had your band Grin, which is just a phenomenal band. I remember it from as a DC kid. I mean, you're just, you know. Anyway, you got Grin, you got the solo career, which some people don't even. They think of you as the E Street guitarist. You had quite the career before E Street.
Yeah, well, you know, it's okay. People will come to my show and say, "Hey, we took a chance. Because you were Bruce Springsteen's guitar player, we had no idea you wrote songs or sang." And that's a common story if you don't have big hit records. And I don't mind if someone comes and finds out I sing and write, and maybe at the merch table at the end of every show, you know, I've had a nice 26-month break from that playing with the E Street Band, and now I'm getting back to my own shows. Of course, big show coming up October 3rd here at the Talking Stick.
Okay.
But, you know, I love people coming to check me out for any reason, and then the goal is to do something special with my own songs and voice, and guitar, of course, that'll make them want to come back again.
Why didn't Grin make it big? Why didn't the solo career get bigger than it was?
Oh, it's you know, unless you have unless you're Bruce Springsteen or Sting, it's like 98% of people that make records or more have the same story. You work your heart out, you make your best records, the company gets excited, they put it out, they promote it a bit, it never translates into heavy rotation. You know, that beautiful thing where they play the song so much that the world claims to be sick of it, and that's every musician's dream, you know. And it just didn't happen. I prefer, as opposed to pointing fingers at the record company, which of course there's some of that, I prefer just to focus on myself and like, okay, let's get a little better. And for 20 years now, I haven't had a company. Thanks to the internet, I have NoelSlofgren.com. I make music I'm proud of and sell it there. I go sing and play a lot, post all the dates there. And I'm still working on a record. And I'm going to work on another record coming up. But of course, I put a 45-year retrospective out last month called Face the Music.
Yeah, this is it's got to be fantastic. I mean, you got stuff pre-Grin. You got when you were a teenager in here, correct?
Yeah, you know, hats off to Fantasy Records. They went and got everything I wanted. We filled up 10 discs. There's 9 CDs, 2 bonus discs, and a DVD of some obscure, beautiful footage. And I'm, you know, so grateful because a lot of my old music is out of print. Again, not a unique story for musicians that didn't have big hit records, but to assemble it all, hand pick it, put the order back together, and there's a 136-page story that Dave Marsh, the rock writer, insisted I write and he edit with a beautiful foreword. My wife Amy, you know, picked the artwork and worked with the art directors, our assistant Omar. We turned our home upside down for 18 months, and we really were the brain trust of producing this. And Amy's got great taste artistically. You know, I put on terrible outfits. The only thing I'm really, I think, pretty good at is playing music. In front of an audience, I'm pretty safe bet. Other than that, you know, it's kind of iffy. So hats off to Amy, and Omar, our assistant, was incredibly helpful. And 18 months of working with people all over the country to go through thousands of pictures, old ephemera, you know, posters, this and that, 45s, and put a great story together.
When you listened, especially when you listened to some of the early music, what do you think?
You know, I'm surprised at kind of the sincerity and honesty and intent, and I notice it instantly. And again, I was blessed in a way. In the 60s, first of all, there was an explosion of beautiful music from British Invasion, Stax Volt, Motown, the old blues guys. I go to the same club I met Neil Young. You know, Muddy Waters let me hang out in the dressing room and watch him play cards, and then he did 2 shows that night for me. So I got to see a lot of powerful performances. But there was no video, there was no internet, so the only game in town, you had to learn how to play in front of people. So that's all you did was play in front of an audience. And to this day, that serves me well. It's kind of a home for me. It's where I feel comfortable. Of course, you're being judged, but it's just some place that feels like a second home for me, and I feel like I know what I'm doing. I like to take chances and improvise, and it just seems to always work out if I prepare properly.
But when you listen to some of the older music, do you say, I wonder why I made that chord change, or maybe that solo should have gone here? I mean, do you do that, or you just go, what a kid that was?
Yeah, that's all. You know, a lot of artists will re-record their music.
Yes.
And, you know, I will go, you know what, I'm singing better now 40 years later. Shocker, you should be singing better. But there's an innocence and a charm to really hard work on a team of people with a common goal, and under the supervision. We got lucky. David Briggs, Neil Young's producer, produced all the Grin records, and there's an innocence and charm and power to that and emotion to that I wouldn't want to redo. So now when I listen back to it, I'm so far away from it,
Yeah.
I can enjoy it again, because it's not something I normally do, is listen to my own stuff. And of course I had to do it, a lot of it, to put this together.
When you were doing your own, still writing your own songs, but especially when you were first starting, did you read a book? Did you ask your mentors? Do you know the 1, 4, 5 chords? I mean, how does that work for someone so young?
Well, everyone's different. For me, I fell in love with rock and roll through the Beatles and the Stones, and that opened the floodgates to the British invasion, Stax Volt, Motown, all of it. So I was always, you know, kind of inspired by those types of songs. There's many of them, beautiful songs, lyrics, and I'd sit there with a piano or a guitar. My first songs I wrote were on the accordion before I picked up, you know, the guitar. But again, I just, thanks to my mom and dad and whatever higher power there is, I had a gift for melody, and mixed with some rhythms and the inspiration of the acts at the time. And you learn from them. I mean, you study the Beatles songs and how they crafted it, the Motown songs. And it's like guitar playing. At first you play the Hendrix lick, then the Eric Clapton lick, then the B.B. King lick. But after 2 or 3 years, all of a sudden it started melting into my own thing, which is ideally what you hope for in songwriting. But I think any great songwriter, and I've done that, whether it's Bruce Springsteen or Neil Young, we'll all talk about, oh yeah, that song, I got inspired by Buddy Holly, that song, 45 years ago. So we all take the soup of the best from the last 100 years, even classical, because I was mired in deep classical melodies for 10 years, and that served me well too.
And you mentioned, obviously, starting very young, playing with Neil Young, obviously the E Street Band now. Some guys, well, you had a career going there,
yeah.
But you're a session guy, you're a band member. How different is it from being the guy in the spotlight to the guy on the side with the guitar?
Well, it's a little different, but if you're working with people you love and you're engaged by, you know, the journey, then it's kind of similar. And I will say, when I was 18 and I did the After the Gold Rush record with Neil Young and Ralphie Molina, who I knew, I made the first Crazy Horse album with them. Greg Reeves was the bass player from Crosby, Stills and Nash. But I remember vividly going to work going, God, it's kind of nice not to be the boss today.
Yeah.
But I'm in Neil Young's band.
Yeah.
And I realized it's cool, and honestly, it's refreshing for me. A lot of solo artists are uncomfortable if they're not the boss. Personally, I found it very inspiring and refreshing. Like, for instance, now, 26 months on the road with the E Street Band, now I'm excited about my next record that I'll write, which I haven't even started yet because I'm getting ready to do shows, but I'm not musically rusty because I had this great adventure with the E Street Band. And for me personally, I love, one helps the other.
Yeah.
It's very inspiring to be in a great band. You know, when you're the band leader, there's a lot of non-musical issues. I'm happy to do them, but they have nothing to do with music. You know, a couple roadies, you know, have a fight, you wade in, some musician gets cranky, you have to be a psychiatrist. All that goes away when you're in somebody else's band.
It does.
And it's all about music. Plus, I get to sing harmony. I get to play rhythm guitar. I get to play pedal steel, dobro, lap steel, bottleneck, all these idiosyncratic sounds that I've learned that when you're the band leader, rightfully so, you should pretty much play all the solos and sing all the songs. So I love being in a band with different responsibilities than the standard, you know, leader.
It's obvious you love music. You love what you do. I mean, the joy is there. You're not some guy who's going through them. I mean, it's obvious. You're just speaking with you. Now, again, Talking Stick is when?
October 3rd, first Friday of October, about 8 to 10, over at the showroom at the Talking Stick. Some of my first shows in 3 years.
Okay.
Very excited. I'm practicing now.
Good.
Me and my buddy Greg Varlotta, a great local player. But it's not just acoustic. There's electric, acoustic, there's tap dancing, there's trumpet, a lot of crazy, wild stuff, and I really will dig in deep on the guitars, electric and acoustic.
We're running out of time.
Right.
The Grin 1+1 album, I still have it. I still love it. I was a kid when I got it. You were a kid when you made it. There's a song called Hi, Hello, Home. We're running out of time. I thank you so much for joining us, and I thank you for stopping by with this box set, which looks fantastic.
Yeah, you can get it at nilslofgren.com. There's a lot of free music and info there, too. So
cool.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. And can you play Hi, Hello, Home? I love that song.
Yeah, let me fire that up for you here.
Okay.
Hi, hello, home. It's good to be alone. Hope it ain't been hurting you, this missing me. Been away so long, I thought you felt wrong. Play with me tonight, sing some harmony. Friends I tried to feel, They taught me how to steal, locking me in rooms dark with misery. Missed you till I cried, but now I'm back inside. I just wanna hide with you in harmony. Hi, hello, home. Hi, hello, home. I can be your fool. I can be.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.